Well, here I am on a lower shelf today, so hopefully you can see me and not just the top of my head. It's been a while since I've done any filming. Things have come on rather quickly. I don't even know where I was last time. I built the wheels, and the frame is now taking shape. The rolling frame. This is the IF project, the 1967 BSA A65. And yeah, it's steaming ahead. I'm like a runaway express. I can't seem to be able to stop myself. I've had a cold, so you have to excuse my strange voice. So here she is. The back wheels are on. The mudguard. These are always a bit of a swine to get them straight, and they don't seem to fit properly. Aftermarket ones, it's a compromise. It really is. But anyway, the wheels are on, the mudguard's on. These things, for mudguards, bungees, are your best friend because you can actually kind of strap them into place, and then you can sort of just tap punch a little hole, do a centre punch mark in the mudguard, and then drill it. These are just temporary. Just while until I get everything, because I need a grab rail too. There's a few bits and pieces. These, which is always the way. These are actually too short. They go from there to there, and I don't know why they're too short. I mean, I guess the mudguard is probably, the radius is just slightly, I don't know. It's one of those annoying things when you're restoring. I remember on my brother's Trident, I actually took the mudguard and I anchored it at one end, and I used my car at the other end to stretch it out a little bit, which actually did the job. But I think, by looking at it, I think that radius is a little sharper than perhaps it should be. Excuse me. Anyway, the wheels are done. That's actually what that is. I'm not even sure what that is. That's the bolts that hold the sprocket on, just ever so slightly touching the brake drum, which is weird because they're exactly the same ones I took off, or something like that. Maybe it's something else. I don't know. I'll have to investigate. This is a second-hand mudguard. It was new, but somebody tried to fit it before and they made a mess of it, as you can see by the holes there. So I bought it because it's cheap, typical me, and put it in. But there's a few other issues with it I've just noticed, like the front of it here. I'm not sure what's going on there. It looks like it's all been bent round, which is very weird. I'm going to have to bend it all straight again somehow. I'm not sure what was going on there. Oh, that's where the noise is coming from. No, it's not. I lied. Anyway, the wheels. They're all respoked. I used a second-hand tyre there. I probably should get a new one, but it was there, so I used it, and it's not in bad shape. So it's an old K81, yeah, Dunlop. New brake shoes been fitted. Forks have been rebuilt. I think that's where I was last time I was doing this, as I was talking about the forks. Because I used the old fork tubes, even though really they should have been replaced. But I used new fork bushings. New seals, new gaiters, those are on. So we'll see. I popped oil and I used straight 30, I tell a lie. Straight 30 in the forks, which is what I normally use. I'm just waiting for this brake arm to dry before I put it on, but actually I think, as far as I remember, you have to put the cable on first before you can put it on. Anyway, one of those things. The frame's absolutely covered in dust from all the grinding and stuff, so it needs a good clean up. The toolbox is in, and I've got the original pouch. I don't know if you can see it there, but that's the original tool pouch. This is what the bike came with, which is amazing. So I'm very pleased with that. Oil tanks in, oil tanks all been cleaned out. I used a combination of vinegar and baking powder to get rid of the rust in there, which actually worked really well. It's quite clean. I'm going to give it another flush, I think. I flushed it with gasoline and isopropyl alcohol, but I'm going to give it another quick flush before I put no oil in it. Chain guards just on loosely, just as I could get the mudguard in position. Swing arms back on, as you can see, new shocks on there. So yeah, there we have it, rolling frame. Just in the middle of unravelling all the bolts. There's a whole host of BSF bolts on this bike. This mudguard's a bit grimy. I did polish it up, but because fitting it, you get everything messed up. The headstock is ball bearings. I could have got the new roller bearings, the taper roller bearings, but there was a new set of ball bearings, and the races are good. So I thought, well, what's the problem? I may as well use it. The steering damper's on there. The heatsink for the regulator for the rectifier is in a big tub of kerosene, just being cleaned up because it was really bad. There's not really an awful lot to say. I've steamed ahead. The spokes, the rear spokes actually, they're actually pretty straightforward, and it's the rule of 4 basically. So every hole that's facing, so that hole there, and then that one, and then that one. So every one that's facing that way is every 4th hole, and it kind of lines up. It's just the way it works. And the rear one makes sense, but the front one's extraordinary because there's a huge crossover. They still follow that rule of 4, but you can see down there's a massive crossover. So there's quite an acute angle on those spokes, which is unusual but quite pretty. So I quite like that. That's a new second-hand headlight. Yeah, it's battery boxes on there. I'm cleaning up all the old bolts. As I say, this is an oily rag restoration. It's covered in finger marks and dust. It's an oily rag restoration. I'm using all the old bolts, cleaning them all up, which is laborious, time-consuming. All the BSF stuff. The BSF stuff's really hard to get these days. I mean, you can buy it from specialists, but it's expensive, and it's on the later BSFs like this one here. It's all UNF and UNC, which is easy because UNC is the same thread pretty much as Whitworth, and UNF of course is slightly coarser I think than BSF, but not interchangeable, not at all. So it's a real pain. So yeah, I'm having to clean up all the old bolts, which I am. It's like these here, that for example, you know, the 5/16 BSF. But I'm reusing it because it's original. And the thing about this bike is, which is absolutely amazing, is that even though it was in terrible condition, rust-wise, it was the first time it had ever been apart. So there was no butchery done to it, no bent brackets, no, you know, nothing was jerry-rigged, nothing. You know, it was just. It's much easier to put together when you don't have a problem with it. I think I said in one of my last videos I had a BSA where there was a dent on the front fork tube, down tube rather, and I thought nothing of it at the time. And it wasn't until I went to put the main engine mount on the bottom that I realised the frame was actually bent. So what I had to do is I had to turn the bike upside. Well, it was just at that point it was just a frame and an engine. I turned the frame upside down with the engine in situ, and I cut it here and here. And I think I used inserts, as far as I remember. I used inserts. Basically moved it about, got it to line up so I could get the bolt right through with the engine in situ. Re-welded it, welded around it, ground it off and painted it. It actually looked fine. I mean, it still had the dent on the front. The frame didn't look like it was bent, but it actually was, and I don't know quite what happened to it. Because as far as I remember, this cross piece here was absolutely dead straight. I think, as far as I remember, this piece was up and slightly back. I just don't remember, but it's so typical of a bike that you buy in pieces when it's old that something awful, catastrophic has happened to it, but it's still been used somehow or fixed up so that it's still usable. But this bike, as I say, it's actually in really nice shape because everything's still there. All the brackets are still there. Nothing's stripped. It is amazing. Of course, the only problem I have with this is this aftermarket mudguard, because this won't fit. Which I could I don't know. Yeah, I'm thinking about it. I might come up with a subtle plan. I mean, that piece here is actually level, which is what they're supposed to be. Actually, no, it is down slightly. So I could space it. Maybe I'll do that even. I don't know. I just have to do whatever I have to do because it's obviously not going to fit as it should. It's a manufacturing difference basically. It's an aftermarket mudguard. I don't even know what it was for originally. I think it was for an A65. Pretty sure it was when I bought it. But it was cheap, as I say, because it had been ruined. The engine is the next thing. When I finish the frame, I'm just going to put the clocks on. The clocks here, I've got all new instrument pods for it. This, to be honest with you, I had to take it apart because there's 3 little rubber guides mounted to the frame of the actual speedo or mechanism, which hold it within the casing. And quite often the screws fall out and they rattle. So I just had to gingerly just undo that bezel around the edge. I've got to reclamp it actually properly. I've just done it temporarily for now. What I usually use is a pair of vice grips with with tape on on the nose, which I anchor onto there, and then just press it gradually into position. But you have to be dead careful because you can break the glass. I've cracked glass so many times doing that. But of course you want it on properly. But anyway, yeah, they'll look good in there when they're back on there. Hopefully they'll work for it, and if they don't, I'll just get them fixed. But yeah, she's taking shape. I'm going to lose my voice in a minute, so I probably should stop. I'm going to have to drill these holes out here because these are, I don't even know what they are. I doubt if they're, what would that be, 1032 machine screws? I doubt if they're that. Probably something like a 2BA, I think that rings a bell. But where I'm going to find that stuff, I don't know. It's just not worth it. I'm not prepared to hang around. So I'm just going to drill these, and I'm just going to mount them using these metric. See here, this is my first bit of bodging. Metric nuts and bolts, which are too long, so I'm just going to saw off the excess and just put a dab of paint or something on the ends so they don't rust. It's quick and dirty, but I'm not prepared to hunt around for bloody screws that fit that at vast cost. When actually the problem... Oh, you know what? One of these was stripped anyway, I remember now. I got this second hand. And I can't remember which hole it was, but one of them was stripped, so it's not going to make any difference anyway. One of them has to be re-drilled. So that's the one that was stripped. So yeah, narrow bars, but it's UK spec. So, but yeah, she's taking shape. She's actually look like a proper motorbike, which is actually amazing. I'm actually rather pleased. Anyway, thanks for watching the F project. Sorry it speeded ahead so quickly. I just got carried away. I fitted the oil tank, then I put on the wheels, and then before I knew it, I had the burn guard to put on, and I was away to the races. So yeah, so here we go. Here we are. So yeah, like I say, thanks for watching, and back soon.